Welcome to the Ordinary Guy Garage. I'm Scott, just an ordinary guy. And today I'm going to tell you what I did to make 600 horsepower with off-the-shelf parts. So, hang tight. First off, I'm going to insert a disclaimer here. I am not an engine builder. I'm an engine enthusiast, you could say. I do a lot of reading about engines and particular parts, specific parts, you know, like camshafts and stuff. And so my idea here is I want to gain as much knowledge as I can about a particular part, so that way I know what'll work well together with what I'm trying to build. I'm always on a budget. You know, I can't just go to a machine shop and say, hey, I need a 600 horsepower motor. Let me know when it's ready, and then whip them out a check for whatever. You know, I can't do that. Plus I enjoy building it myself, and the time that I spend, the brain time that I spend on it, thinking about it and studying it and learning all about it, I enjoy that. It's the thrill of the chase, I guess you would say. Also, you know, people who've been watching my videos know I'm a truck driver. So I spend a lot of time out there. I'm a local truck driver, but I still spend a lot of time on the road, and I just have my head. So I just think, you know, and so when I'm at home, early in the morning when I get up before I go to work, I think about the engines and I read a little bit about it and talk back and forth with a buddy of mine about it and just kind of work it through. So that way I have a knowledge and a direction of where I'm going. So like I said, I don't have dyno sheet after dyno sheet for all these different builds. So, but this motor came out really good, and I had people ask me questions about it. So, you know, I have no secrets. I'm a bracket racer, and so I handicap race. So it doesn't really matter. I'm not after the absolute fastest time. I'm after consistency. So I got no problem. If you want to know what size cam I got in there, I'll tell you. I'll give you the part number and the specs. Don't matter to me. Go for it, build it, you know. I mean, people have helped me along, and I want to help other people along. So if this video helps you, great. You can look back at some of the other videos for the S10 in my playlist for the S10 drag truck, and I have more videos of the engine as I'm putting it together. So the intention of this video here is to just specifically what parts are in it, so you have it all in one spot. So get out your notepad, and if you want to take notes, then go ahead and do it. Oh, and do me a favor, if you haven't subscribed, hit the button. If you like the content, you know, hit the button, give me a like, thumbs up, share it with other people. I'm at about 700 subscribers now, and I'm shooting for that magical number of 1,000 to see if I could really get this channel to go anywhere. So help me out a little bit, I'd appreciate it. So enough about that. Let's move this back a little bit. Let's go into the engine here. So first off, maybe I could put this down a little bit. Maybe that'll help. First off, we'll go with the block. The block here is nothing special. A friend of mine, he said he had a couple of old camel hump heads. Now those are antiquated, you know, technology, you know, but I wanted a set for the Chevy when I was building it. I ended up not using them, and they're sitting in my storage. But he said, I got a set, you can have them. And so I came over to his house, and he goes, they're right there on that engine. You can have the whole engine, just take it. It was just laying out in his yard. So I took it. Come to find out, the block is actually a pretty good block. One of my guys I race with. But what this is, it's a 2-bolt main, 350. Supposedly it's a high nickel block. It was standard bore, so it had never been bored before. So just 2-bolt main, 350 block, nothing special. I took it to the machine shop, and he said, yeah, I could probably work with this. So he bored it 40 over because he had a set of pistons for me that were 40 over. So he bored it 40 over and decked it. And then he also line honed it and did all, you know, he prepped the block, clearanced it, did everything for me. The crankshaft in here is an Eagle 3.75 stroke crank. The rods are Eagle 6-inch rods, and the pistons are Probe 8cc dome forged pistons. So at the machine shop, he did all of that. He balanced it. He did the machine work on the block. He clearanced the block. And he said, you know, since I'm already clearancing everything, I already have to test fit most all of the pieces anyways. If you want, give me another couple $100 and I'll just stick it together for you. So that's a heck of a deal. So yeah, so I did that. So I don't have a ton of money in the short block, but that's what I got going on with that. The heads, these are AFR 220. The part number on these is 1065. These are the race porting on these, the CNC ported. This is the cheaper version of the two. They have the race and they have a competition porting. This is the cheaper set. It was like $1,800 for the set. Originally, I have a set of blueprint heads that were on the last motor, and I was going to port those, or the machine shop was going to port them for me. And I have a different cam I was going to run, and you'll see that in some of the past videos for this build. It kind of evolved on me. But I ended up, you know what, if I'm going to do this, let's just do it. So I went ahead and stepped up and bought the good set of heads. The intake manifold is a Speedmaster single plane. I got it used. I think I paid $80 for it. Now it didn't match. The ports didn't match the size here. So this takes a Felpro 1206 gasket, and this was more like a 1205 gasket. So what I did was I ported the manifold. I've never ported anything before, really. I've kind of cleaned it a little bit. But what I did was I ported this. I figured it all out, marked it all out, and when you port them, you go back a little bit on the runners. You don't just cut it right at the runner. You have to kind of blend it back. So I did that on all of those and got it to match. Apparently I did a good job. I don't know, maybe if a professional did it, it would be more than my power number. Maybe I'd make, 630 or something, I don't know. But it seemed to work pretty good. So now the camshaft is a Comp Cams solid roller. It's from their drag race series of camshafts, and I think it's like the smallest one, or one of the smallest ones. It's a 12-9089. It's not a small base circle. They have another one that's a 12998-9, which is a small base circle. The 9 is for the 900 size base circle, whatever. I didn't need the small base circle, and this clears fine. So you got to check that. But the guy at the machine shop told me, be careful with the camshafts that have small base circle, because they tend to twist a little bit because the whole things are thinner. I don't know. I just following the advice, but I didn't need a small base circle. This one fit fine. So the cam specs, 12-908-9 Comp Cams. The specs on it are 264, 270 at 50 thousandths for the duration. The lift is 630 lift with a 1.5 rocker. I put 1.6 rockers on here, so I have a 672 lift with the 1.6 rocker. The center line is 106 degree center line. So that's the cam. It's a healthy cam. I mean, I wouldn't drive it on the street. I mean, I guess you can if you want to, but I wouldn't drive it on the street because it wants to run. It doesn't want to idle, and I imagine this thing in traffic would be a pain. But so that's basically that setup right there. As far as the rocker arms, I use Scorpion rocker arms. It was like $270 for a set. 7/16 studs. That's where the heads come with those. I would have put those in anyways, because with the higher spring pressure, the higher spring pressure that goes with these heads and with the solid roller cam, the rocker studs will move around at higher RPM. So you want the heavier one. So I put the 7/16 on there. And then I also got AFR stud girdles on here. And you can see in the other video where I'm adjusting the valves, you can see the AFR stud girdles. Now AFR wants them specifically because they have because these heads have a 210 valve. So the spacing's a little bit different because it's a really big intake valve. So you have to run their stud girdle. So there's that. As far as the timing chain, it's a Chloe's, however you say that, timing chain, nothing fancy. The timing cover is just a Summit Racing timing cover. It's a 2-piece, so I can pull it off if I need to. The water pump is a Proform electric water pump. That's about it. SFI harmonic balancer. And there's also an SFI flex plate on the back. The distributor, Pro Billet, MSD Pro Billet distributor, and I have a 6AL digital box in the truck. And a blaster coil. As far as the carburetor goes now, this motor before, or not this one, but the motor that was in here before, I had a carburetor that a buddy of mine put together for me. And we were having some carburetor issues with this truck. You know, I didn't have the money to buy a new carburetor, so we were just slapping together whatever we could. And he put one together from some of his spare parts and brought it down to the track to give me, which was really cool. And I raced with that carburetor for quite a few years. It's a 750 double pumper has a Proform body, and man, it worked really good. But I felt it was going to be a little bit undersized for this motor, so I went ahead and stepped up again, and I bought a Pro Systems 860. Well, you know, that what I did was I got a hold of Patrick at Pro Systems, and I gave him all the information for my motor, the information for my truck, what I'm doing with it, cam specs, all of that. And he said, this is it, I will build this. So that's what he did. The really cool thing about that is it comes with the Pro Systems, it comes with a sheet. These are all the parts he used. And then there's a spec sheet on the back. So it tells me right off what air bleeds he used, what jets he used, just everything. It's kind of like a dyno sheet for carburetors back here. Then of course we did the 8 poles. That was in another video, the video before this, that's showing this. And think what I'll do is right now, this sheet right here, I have a photo of this sheet. I'm gonna go ahead and insert it right here. All right, I figured I would do that. That way you can pause on it if you want to see the numbers, you know, a little bit closer or whatever. But yeah, it made good power, so I'm real happy with it. All the parts, everything that I put this motor together with, besides like the manifold and the block, you know, stuff that I got used or had, I ordered everything from Summit Racing. You know, they're not an advertiser or they're not a sponsor, but they had everything. Everything was off the shelf. And, you know, where I live, I'm in Oregon, and if it comes from the Nevada warehouse, I get it the next day. You know, standard shipping, I get it here the next day. So yeah, pretty much this is all Summit stuff. I might have, when it's all said and done, I have less than 10,000 in this motor. I probably have about 6. And that's a pretty good deal for a 600 horse motor, you know. So if you take anything away from this, brain time, think about what you're doing, and study, ask questions, because that's what I did, and that's what's worked for me for all of my life, and it worked here with this. So thanks for all the interest in it. I hope I answered your questions. Sorry it took a little longer to get the video out. I've been driving, you know, I've been hauling a lot lately, so I've been getting home at the end of the day, and I'm just too tired to come out here to the shop. And so sorry for waiting, but thanks for watching it. And again, if you like the content, give me a thumbs up, give me a comment, give me a like. Oh, like and thumbs up, the same thing. And share it, tell your friends, whatever. Let's see if we can get me up to 1,000 subscribers and see where I go from there. But thanks again for watching, and whatever you do, stay safe.